Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to the Naturally Yours podcast, where we celebrate our beautiful women of color while Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to the Naturally Yours podcast, where we celebrate our beautiful women of color while spotlighting their success and bringing more awareness to their natural hair. On today, for episode 14, I have the pleasure of interviewing a very, very special queen by the name of Vernica, who is the boss in the bonnet, who brings the energy, who is mother of the church. Help me welcome Miss Panther Inc. Graphix.
Thank you for having me, Ty.
You are so welcome. Thank you for squeezing me in on your schedule because I know it's crazy.
Girl, crazy is an understatement. Thank you for having me, though. I appreciate it so much. We finally got this aligned so we could talk about some stuff.
I know. I'm super, super excited about this episode. Like so excited. I kind of got the butterflies, like kind of sweating a little bit because I'm so excited.
Girl, I'm nobody to be sweating behind. Come on with it. I'm an open book. You let me know what you need to know.
Okay. So to open it up, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of about your backstory, just so everyone can get a little bit of a feel for you for the ones that are not familiar with you yet.
Okay. So, for those that do not know who I am, my name is Vernica Pritchard. I am a graphic designer. I'm a brand developer. I go by the tagline, I create lanes so that you never have to compete in any. I also love to leave
Period.
lasting impressions on your brand, hence the name Panther Ink. So, inks are known for stains, right? So I'm always going to leave an
Yes.
everlasting impression. I don't want you to forget about me. I don't want no erase, wash away, reuse. No, no, no. I'm there to stay when it comes to brand development. So that's one side of it. When it comes to my background story, I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And at the age of 18, I decided to move away from home because honestly, as a creative person, there really wasn't an industry growing up in like the 90s where you could really thrive as a graphic designer in Louisiana. So I literally manifested over some paperwork before manifestation was even something I knew I was doing. And I prayed over all my college applications I filled out. And I was like, Lord, just lead me to where I'm supposed to be. So Art Institute of Houston wrote back. And as soon as I got my acceptance letter, girl, I loaded up. At the time, my dad and my mom, they were driving a Buick Regal. We loaded that up with 2 boxes and a television. And I just been making history in Houston ever since. So I went to the Art Institute. I transferred from there and I went to Houston Community College. I got my associate's degree in applied science. And then I got a lot of certificates, marketable skills awards, and like technical communications, graphic design. So I ended my AAS in digital communications. And instantly after I graduated, I started building Panther Inc. Graphix in 2007. So Panther Inc. has been around for a while. And your girl started out going door to door from like different shopping malls with a
Mm-hmm.
portfolio and a business card. I would sit at Starbucks with my computer, like just working on college stuff, but I would make it look like, oh, these are clients so that people can see the computer and like exchange cards. Like, oh, what do you do? And you just start the conversation, right? So I was
Mm-hmm.
hustling ever since 18, trying to make a dream happen, chasing a vision, manifesting my future. And of course, it's been stumbles like along the way, but it's been a beautiful journey. When you look at how the hard work pays off, now we're here. So now I am thriving. I just currently, my last year was the first year. So that was 2022, the first year where I was able to replace my salary just solely with my own job, my own business, my own company. So thank God for that. And now I'm moving into
Yes.
teaching others how to do the same. So now we have brand builders, and the Panther Inc. brand is trying to pull in their own tribe to nurture and help other businesses become phenomenal and leave their own everlasting impression on other people's lives. So that's what it's about.
Got you. Well, I love the sound of your story. I love the dedication, the drive, the determination. I love how you were fearless. Like
Yes,
you were just 18 and you really just packed up without your parents
yes.
and went somewhere totally new. Like that takes a lot of guts.
It takes a lot. And I'll tell you this. I think the reason I had the guts to do it
Hmm.
is because I came from a place where it was so hard to
Hmm.
survive. You kind
Hmm.
of grow up not only having to be tough, but you don't
Hmm.
have room for fear. Sometimes you'll have moments in life where fear could be the thing that costs you your life. Fear could be the thing that causes you to miss out on a big opportunity to change your life. So when I started seeing that it's either like do or die, and then
Hmm.
growing up, humble beginnings where you had to figure out how to make ends meet literally, like as a teenager, you're trying to help support your family. Mom and
Hmm.
dad having hard times. So you're always thinking, even as a child, you're thinking as an adult, like, how can I help? How can I help? So the grind
Right.
has always been in me. And then I have to give, of course, much ups, thanks, appreciation, paying homage to my mom and dad. They were hard workers, very hard
Right.
workers. So all I really know is hard work and how to really get out there and make it happen. So
Right.
all of that hard beginning is paying off now. So that's where that comes
Yes.
from. Mm-hmm.
Yes. It definitely has created your work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Your work ethic is crazy, which they'll get to understand that the more they get to listen to the interview because
Yes.
Panther is on fire, y'all.
Thank you.
There's not another one like her.
Oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate you, Ty.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem. So, how about you share a little bit more about why you decided to go down the entrepreneur journey instead of taking the simple 9 to 5 route?
Oh, now isn't that the interesting plot twist? Okay, so that was that's a combination of a few things. Um, there's this book. I'm gonna start out with that.
Okay.
T.D. Jakes has this book called Destiny. And in
Okay.
Destiny, he talks about how everybody has this intuition where your purpose is kind of like pulling on you. And
Mm-hmm.
as you journey on, if you tap into that purpose, your instinct will kind of like draw to where you're supposed to be, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you look at yourself and you're like, why do people trust me with their business?
Right.
Why do I talk so much? Why am I so loud? Why
Right.
am I known for being high energy? Why am I always the one with all this energy? Why does my brain tick to where when people are talking, I can instantly just drop? This is what you do. This is how. But we're all naturally made because that's in sync with the destiny. We just have to walk the steps to arrive there, right?
Right.
So when I read that book, that was an eye opener for me to understand. Okay, so it all has a purpose. I just need to keep stepping. You don't know where these steps are leading. So going backwards, I have always actually been a 9 to 5er. I've always been in corporate world. I worked in the oil and gas industry as the only African American, the only female in my
Mm.
division in oil and gas for graphic design. But in the oil and gas industry, it's very ugly. Like when we go to war, like what's going on right now. When
Mm-hmm.
gas prices go up,
Mm-hmm.
the oil and gas industry is secure. But when gas prices go down, oil and gas people are losing their jobs. And I mean in a multitude. And that's the ugly that people really don't see. So with that
Right.
fluctuation, they're always
Mm-hmm.
doing stripping and reevaluating departments in the background. So
Right.
I made it through 2 rounds of that fluctuation. And then on that
Mm-hmm.
third round, I was let go. So starting all
Oh.
over, I was a new mom at that time.
Mm.
Luckily, that job I went into becoming a graphic designer for Houston Chamber of Commerce. That didn't last long because literally their nonprofit, they couldn't afford my position. So they let me go and they turned my position into an internship. So again, let go, mom, wife at the time, trying to figure out what am I doing. So then I
Right.
got back into another corporate job. This job was a bit more pressing very hard hours. It was for a major corporation that handles accounts like Harley Davidson, Toyota, Energy. And I was, again, the only chocolate chip in my department. And it's so funny because in corporate, you don't find many black female graphic designers. That's just not a lane, I guess, that interests us or we pursue fully to make it an actual position in the corporate world. You find a lot of other cultures before you find an African American woman as a graphic designer. So it was nothing, honestly, but God's grace that got me those high level jobs in the oil and gas and in the major corporation, because just me being a little old African American woman, slim chances, especially coming in like this, natural head wrap, chances are people like, you're not going, no, next, get us a Judy or get us a John. We don't want Vernica. You know what I'm saying? So it was always me having to prove myself. It was always me having to go above and beyond. It was always me having to do longer hours, do more work than the other person just to hold my spot. But I got so worn out. I felt like I wasn't living. I was existing. I didn't feel like I had quality of life in 9 to 5. And so going back to that book, it showed me that I actually have an entrepreneurial spirit. Every entrepreneur knows they're a boss before they even become a boss. Your nature is what's going to give you all the insights that because you're always going to feel like, anytime you clock in, you'd rather not be there. Anytime you will clock in, you're always thinking about what you could be doing for you. Anytime you're at that computer, you just something for your business, not for them. You working on your stuff on their clock. Like, that's an entrepreneur. So I got to a point, and I didn't know, and I've said this before to the tribe, so I'm glad I could share it on your platform. I manifested becoming an entrepreneur, but you got to be careful, and you have to be prepared for what you pray for. I started telling God, okay, I'm ready to move past this. And see, in the corporate world, I didn't have room to grow. There was no moving up as a graphic designer. Like, the highest tier you can make it to as a designer is really like an art director. And that depends on if that corporation even has that as a department or as a title. If they don't have that, there's really no way to scale up. Gotcha. So I just felt stuck. And then sometimes it called for longer hours. Sometimes you have to work on projects that were like 10, 12-hour shift days. And I didn't have time with my son. And at the time, he was about 2, 3 years old. The main time they need their mom, those primary stages. Right. So I just started doing things like pulling a box into my room. And I started packing like my immediate little items, like my little tissue box. And then I put my little picture frame in there. And I was like, one day. But be careful what you pray for. COVID-19 happened. And in 2019, I was let go of my job because of COVID. So God answered my prayer through tragedy. And sometimes that's how your blessings come. They come through tragedy. Sometimes it looks like it's going against you and why me, but it's actually you got comfortable where you were, and he knew you weren't going to fully move unless he put you in a very uncomfortable position. So losing my job, and at the same time going through divorce, and at the same time homeschooling my special needs son. Shout out to Jaden. And shout out to all of the autism mommies and daddies out there. We rocking it over here. So dealing with all of that, like learning him, understanding the process of his needs, homeschooling him, making time to do that, and dealing with homework, running my business and getting it off the ground. Because even though Panther Inc. had been around for 20 years, it wasn't my primary because I had a 9 to 5, right? Right. But now I had the opportunity to go full in. So it's really only been 2 years of me being full-time entrepreneur. And then as of last year, that was the year when I was able to replace that salary of that job that said bye-bye to me. And now I can say, hello, world.
Exactly. Exactly. Bye-bye. I'm out of here. You won't ever see me again.
And I'm loving
I can't wait. Girl, I know you are. I can't wait to do the same.
It's coming. It's coming.
I wrote my date down, girl.
See? Manifestation. So be careful, ma'am. Be careful, celebrate yourself, and prepare for it. Because when you write it down, people don't understand the power of the mouth and the power of writing. You give life to a thing doing that. So I'm already proud of you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And as always, I'm super happy and proud of you and everything that you pour into us, you bring to the table. Like you just bless us with,
Thank you.
with everything, with gems, energy,
That's
life.
the time.
Like I know, like I can honestly say watching you, because being at my job, I'd be miserable. Like I'd be miserable being in there.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I'm there, I can't even concentrate. Like I can't concentrate on the work. Like
Yep.
I honestly am not mentally there. My body's there, but
Yep.
my mind is not there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about hair or thinking about what I
Yeah.
can be doing for my
See,
business.
that was me. That was me, girl. So that's when you know that's I call it the pressure coming to a head. That's what just like a pimple when that thing is emerging and you can't even focus on what these people and you know like okay I know I'm on their clock but I don't even care anymore. Like I can't even
That's where
and
I
it's not
am.
on purpose. I
Right.
just can't. My mind is not here. It's with my baby, which is your
Yes.
business. So yeah,
Yes.
that's it. It's coming. It's coming, sis. That's when the shift is about to occur.
Yes. It has to, because at this point I'm like, I don't want to do the job wrong, even though I'm over the job or whatever the case may be, but I don't want to like leave a bad stain or a bad taste in someone's mouth
Right. Right.
because, I still wasn't doing my part. So it's like
Right.
I need to just get out because at this time I'm not being productive.
Uh-huh.
Like
That's true.
I feel like I'm not being able to live out my full potential being
Right,
here.
right, right. And that's counterproductive. And see, that says a lot about your integrity too, because when you even consider that, some people don't care. But for you to
Right.
say, I would rather move on with my life and you guys fill this position with someone that's actually present and wants to do this for where you're
Right.
trying to grow your thing so I can do my thing, that
Right.
says a lot about how you built. So kudos for that, because a lot of people be like,
Thank
I
you.
don't care. I'm just clocking in, get my check, and
You're right. You're right.
right.
Some people do not care.
I don't.
They don't. They don't. But at this point, I'm like, even though I know I'm never gonna come back to this job, I just still want to leave on a good note
That's
and
right.
not a
You
bad one.
should. You should. My mom used to always say, you never know when you'd have to cross a bridge again. So you never
Right.
want to burn that bridge. You just never know.
Exactly.
Even though our hearts, we're like, I'm never going to come back there. But you don't want
Right.
to make bad relationships. So like you said, leave a bad taste in someone's mouth to where they're like, oh no, that person could never come back here again. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I don't
That's
want to do
time.
that. I
Right.
wouldn't want no one to do that to me. So
Exactly. Because it definitely will come full circle. When you get to the point where you
yes.
need to hire staff, you're going to have that
Right.
one that's daydreaming about her job and you paying her and
Mm-hmm.
she's not being productive for you. And you, oh no, we're not doing this. So, yes,
Right. Right.
yes,
Right. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you.
period.
Yes, ma'am. So let's get into our next question.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is kind of a bonus question. So I want you to tell everyone how you were able to make it through all of those hardships, you know, being this only melanated woman in this male dominant field or different nationality field, then dealing with all the personal issues from, letting go of a marriage to having an autistic son to
Mm-hmm.
just to and then losing your position
Yep.
and just all of those things, that's a lot of
It was a
those
lot.
are a lot of things.
It was a lot. It was every major facet of just a normal person's life. Like every major facet was being impacted at the same time. I'm not going to say making it through it was easy by far. And I'm not going to say that I hadn't had like a hard dose of depression. I went through anxiety, so much so where I would just randomly have panic attacks. Chest would just hurt, couldn't breathe. I mean, I went through it. But one thing I can say, I grew up faith based. if it wasn't for my source dealing with connecting with God in those hard
Mm-hmm.
times,
Mm-hmm.
sourcing my strength through Him in those hard times, a lot of times I would just you've ever been to that moment in life where life has torn you down so much you can't do anything but fall to your knees. I had those moments where I was so weak, or I would cringe so much, or I had cried that pillow so wet. All I could do is just hit my knees and say, you know what, I surrender. That's how I
Right.
made it through. I had to get to the point where I was broken so much so, because a lot of times we try to tussle with the potter and think we know better. And then he just takes that clay and he slams it to the ground and he shatters it again and he molds it over, because he's like, we still got some imperfections here we got to work out. You still trying to fight
Mm-hmm.
me as though you are in control, but I'm going to show you. And if anybody knows me, I'm very headstrong. So I always feel like I'm the one that's gonna make the decision. I'm the one that's in control. I'm the one. Like, I got the final
Right.
say. No, God has the final say, my dear. So I had to really surrender to my flesh. I had to surrender to self. And I had
Mm-hmm.
to let my spirit man supersede the circumstances. Oh, that's a whole word.
Oh.
He had to take over because it was out of my
Mm-hmm.
control. And if I would
Right.
have sat in those circumstances and let flesh ponder, I would have been so far off, so far done.
Right.
Depression could have took
Right.
over. I could have had a nervous breakdown. It was going severe. I was a very easy trigger at first, especially in the beginning stages of the separation. When it came to the divorce, I was very bitter, like very angry. I didn't think anybody's opinion could resonate in it. You don't hold any weight in my life. That was really me. I was very easily triggered. But it's been 2 years
Mm-hmm.
and I had to do a lot of searching, because I'm like, and I hope people can take away from this that sometimes when you're going through pain that was caused by another human being, we
Mm-hmm.
tend to point the finger at that person. Now, not saying everybody has a point, but when it comes to people that actually know you or care for you or love you or are familiar with you,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes instead of focusing on what they could change, you need to go back and do some soul searching on yourself and figure out where were those cracks and those gaps that maybe I could have been a better human being, or I could have done something
Right.
different, could have been
Right.
more vocal, could have been more
Right.
vulnerable, could have been more affectionate, could whatever the case may be. So I started doing that. I was working on me. And when it's just really the power of shifting your focus. That's what I did. I stopped focusing on the problem and I surrendered to the problem solver. And that's how I decided, one step at a time. Even if I don't know where that step is, even if it's in the
Mm-hmm.
darkness, even if it's in the trenches, I got strong enough faith to know the one that's never left me stranded, he got me again. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
it.
That's definitely a testimony. I definitely can agree with you on that because
Yeah.
when I used to work before I got before I was in this position that I'm in now, I used to work a long time at Walgreens,
Uh-huh.
and I was going through a moment where my check was being garnished
Oh man.
because someone had stolen my car, and the car people basically didn't want to let the car go. And at the time, I
Oh.
was young and I didn't know I needed a lawyer so I could, get rid of that car payment and get it off my name. And unfortunately, they only give you 7 years to basically get rid of it. After the 7 years, then you're basically stuck with it unless you file bankruptcy or something or pay it off.
Oh, no, no.
Well, it was over the statutory limits.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was too late, and I didn't know anything about it because I was young, and
Right.
I didn't really have any support. Like once my car got stolen, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I was basically stuck. So therefore, my check started getting garnished at Walgreens, girl. And, I was a single mom and I was on my own, and I was here making it with only $1,000 a month, girl. $1,000 a month, and my rent was $850.
Oh, Ty.
Yes,
Oh,
my
but
rent
didn't
was.
that teach you how to be frugal? See, that's why you good at catching a sale. That's why you good at pitching a penny. It's always those tragedies have their benefits. Like all of the lessons in the tragedy. That's what I had to start learning to look for. Cause life gonna hurt. Life is gonna bring you
Yes,
some crap the way you just like, I cannot believe I am in this situation right now. Like you're every
right,
day. You just like, when
right.
you go. Girl, one time I remember there was a phase in life where I was like, God, are you just gonna let me breathe? Can I
Right,
catch a breath? Like it was
right.
just one thing, boom, 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 boom. And something like that, a single mother,
Yes,
$1,000. Rent is
yes,
$850. What you gonna do about that? Now see, that's strength right there. That's strength.
yes. It definitely showed me how strong I was, girl. Cause, girl, if you would have just been with me, girl, you talk about penny pinching.
Yes.
I, girl, I had a car note on top of that, girl. Don't even get me started. But I had a car note on top of that, and I still had to buy groceries for me and my son. Girl, do you know I went to this place called Save a Lot, girl, and was
I
penny
know
pitching.
Save a Lot. They have Save a Lot out there.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, girl. Girl. I would probably buy probably 2 packs of meat, girl.
Make it
Maybe
make it work.
three. And I
Yep.
would make that last throughout the whole 2 weeks,
That's
girl.
it. That's
You
it.
get 1 piece of meat per night.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. You got to make it work. You got to make it work. And you know what? That's before we were actually able, like now we've kind of arrived to where we can go healthier. But see, the
Right.
only way to make it is see, they have this system set up like that. That's for another time, another season. But all the cheaper
Mm-hmm.
foods, high in sodium, high in dye, high in all this processed, whatever, whatever. But that's
Mm-hmm.
particularly set up like that in our area. The people that's on hard time, that's all you can afford. So I've
Exactly.
had plenty of oodle noodle moments. Do you hear me? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
know how to. I could probably open a restaurant with ramen noodles alone, or some people call it the ramen, top ramen, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Girl, we would freak a z some noodles. Do you hear me?
I hear you, girl. I hear you.
I've
When
been
I
there.
was a child, we definitely had, the ramen noodles for sure. For
Yes,
sure.
yes. So look how far we've come, Ty. Look how far we've come. Still got a
It's
lot
definitely a
of growing.
testimony.
But yes, just thinking about that alone, you could say my baby and I don't have to just make it work on $250 left.
I
Two
know.
hundred and fifty dollars a month. You was making it work, Ty.
Girl, by the grace of God, because that's the
Huh?
only way.
Who you
That's the
telling?
only
It's
way.
been some months I look back and I'm like, how did I even tally out and then go behind on nothing?
I
Because I didn't
know.
even
I
make
know.
enough this month. But you made a way. Some kind of way it worked out. Yeah, we get real creative.
Girl, we definitely do. We definitely do. Makes us
Yeah,
stronger, that's for sure.
that's it. That's it.
So, why don't you tell the audience what are some things you learned on the way, since you made this leap into entrepreneurship? What are some things that you learned on the way, that you can maybe help the next aspiring
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
graphic designer?
Mm. You know what? I think I'm gonna make it a broad statement to try to help any entrepreneur.
Okay.
Know why. You already know. I always say, what's your why? What is your why?
Right.
Why are you doing
Right.
this in the first place? So anybody
Mm-hmm.
new, they need to know, why are you doing this in the first place? What's your push? Because on those late nights when you're tired, on those times where you're crying, on those times where sometimes it even hurts your body because you have pushed so hard, when you are hustling to build a brand, to build a legacy, you got to know what's your why. Because that's the only thing that's going to keep that engine fueling. That's the only thing that's going to make you go back to the drawing board when things aren't working out. That's the
Mm-hmm.
perseverance, when you know why do you want to solve a problem, why do you have a product or service. So besides the why, I had to learn to separate from negativity.
Oh,
um
yes.
Speaking negative, speaking about being poor, speaking about limitations, that's no longer a part of my conversation. That's no longer a
Right.
part of my thoughts. That's no longer a part of my surroundings. I'm
Right.
only going to surround myself with people that look like the desires of my heart. I'm
Right.
only going to speak on things in a way to where I'm manifesting greatness, health, wealth, abundance, light, love, healing, power. That's my
Yes.
everyday routine. So when you start putting yourself in that part of life, that type of mindset, you
Mm-hmm.
attract that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
because it's starting to show proof to me time and time again,
Mm-hmm.
there's no turning back. So I would definitely tell anybody that's trying to seek, know your why, and I need you to manifest all things positive, knowing that it's possible. There are no
Mm-hmm.
limitations on the Creator. He is the only one that is in abundant overflow, even in the middle of a
Mm-hmm.
drought, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of whatever. He is the sole provider. So don't limit him, because limiting God is limiting your capabilities. And being that
Yes.
you're in the image of him, you're a reflection of his capabilities. So going ahead on that, and then outlining what your business stands for, knowing what problem you solve, knowing what your mission is to help people, but you really have to be clear on the problem you solve. If you know the problem you solve, then you've already discovered who the audience is and what they look like. Who suffers from the thing that you are out to heal or to fix?
Mm-hmm.
So, those would probably be the top things that I would give any entrepreneur. Know that you're capable. Okay, manifest all good things that are positive. Don't speak about I'm broke. No, you're not. You're wealthy. I don't care if you only got $1 in your purse. You are abundant. Overflow belongs to you. On my brokest days, in these last like 2 years of trying to make Panther Inc. take over my full-time salary,
Mm-hmm.
girl, it
Mm-hmm.
was some days where I would look at it and I would hold the wallet and I'm like, you are about to flow. There is overflow coming. I need you to be, you
Yes.
are abundant. Or I will wake up, and while I'm dropping my son off, I will always like say affirmations out loud and just thank God for the day. Thank God for
Right.
keeping us safe through the night. But then I would say, I am wealthy. And then I would say,
Yes.
I am a money magnet.
Yes.
All of it will draw to me. And then before you know it, you'll go a week and maybe it's like no customers. You might get one bonnet sale. You might get one logo. And you're like, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay my insurance? How am I going to pay my staff now at this point? And then all of a sudden, you will run into some situation where you wake up and Honeybook went cha-ching and somebody just booked your premium package that you didn't even advertise. So he always comes full circle, but you got to stay in a positive mindset. So when it came to the advice for the entrepreneurs, just make sure you're pursuing and manifesting, like for sure, for sure.
Yes. And knowing your why is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not, you will quit.
Yes. Yes, it's very easy to just say, "Oh, I'm just done with this. This is just too
Yes.
much. Too many levels. Too many
Mm-hmm.
things. Too many books. Too many courses. I'm an information overload. It's too much money I'm putting into this thing, girl. It's so many. We can come up with 1,000 excuses, but if you never try, you'll never find out what works.
Right.
So you just gotta keep going. I can't say that
Yes.
everything I thought about doing was a mastermind idea and everything was a success. That would be a bold-faced lie. You're
Right.
just going to go through the refining process until you find your groove. And then when
Right.
you see what people connect to, just stay in that groove. And
Right.
that's the thing you build on. You don't go all over the place bouncing around. You'll never find out what works. And then the
Right.
brand just doesn't even deliver on anything. It's just a mess. And that's what you're known for, an unidentified mess. So we're not doing messes. We just gonna be
Right.
clear. What
Right.
problem we solve and everything grows from there.
Yes. Yes. For sure. For sure. Okay, so why don't you tell us, Miss Vernica,
Yes.
what are some things that you see for your business in the future?
Oh, do you really want to know that?
Yes, I do, and I'm sure they do too.
Okay. Well, there's so many things. All right. So I'm actually planning out, I'll at least tell you guys about this year. And hopefully it will lead to, I am proclaiming that this will be my 6-figure year. I'm doubling up on what I did last year, which is a lot of hard work. But I plan on being intentional about building solid relationships. So I have been doing a lot of diligent work networking to find where those sweet spots are with the right people.
Yes.
Just recently, I gained my first client that is a celebrity client, I guess you would say. So,
Ooh,
woo, for
congrats.
that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You deserve it.
So, thank you
They
so
in good
much,
hands.
guys. Thank you so much.
You're
Oh, it's been
welcome.
so much hard work. So, that happened, I think, now 2 weeks ago. And
Okay.
it's been a full, I mean, that's why it's going to bed at 1 in the morning, waking
Mm-hmm.
up at 5:45 and not getting a nap because that client is on it. And it's like texting, DM, Zoom meetings, and then having my team, we have to have our meetings, and then I'm also in class and all this.
Right.
But saying that to say, building that relationship is
Mm-hmm.
going to open up into the podcasting segment. So I plan
Yes.
on moving into podcasting. That's on the list of
Yes.
things to do. I plan on dropping apparel. I actually have completed
Yes.
writing a book. So dealing with brands is called
Ooh.
F Your Brand.
F your brand. Ooh, I love the name. F your brand.
It's called F Your Brand, bold in your face. And this is funny because
That's
I'm
gonna
having,
sell. That's gonna sell.
girl,
Period.
F Your Brand. So I'm either going to drop the apparel or the book for my birthday, which is in April. So the
Okay,
funny
Aries.
thing is, well, Taurus, I'm at the end.
Okay. Oh, you're at the end.
I'm a
Okay.
bull,
I got
baby.
a lot
I'm
of
a
birthdays
bull.
in April.
But you know what? Alo, she's in Aries. She's in
Gotcha.
April too. Yeah.
Okay.
She's in the
Okay.
beginning of April. I think she's like April 8th or something like that. But the end of April, we the bulls, honey. We horns
Gotcha.
up. Horns up. So I'm actually revealing all of this. This is the first time I've talked about this. So you got the exclusive, girl. Nobody else knows
Ooh.
this information. So the podcasting will come. And the good thing about this client, he's not only in podcasting and monetizing YouTube and everything, he's also been on Earn Your Leisure. He's been on Ash Cash's Inside the Vault. He's been on the TEDx as a speaker. Phenomenal guy. But his network, that his team actually handles a lot of the podcasts in New York. So people like Joe Budden,
Uh-huh.
they are affiliated with the group that I'm currently working with. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So
That
I'm
is
so excited.
amazing.
So excited. So
Yes, I'm so
that,
excited for you.
thank you. And you already know everything that I'm learning and growing in. Just like, for instance, I had an unexpected call with him earlier and we were going over some content. He
Mm-hmm.
loved the content. And then he said, well, are they going to be able to scan the QR code if they're looking at this from their phone? And I said, you know what? If they don't have another phone, then no. He said, well, how are we going to make this work? And then I was like, he said, if we ever have to say, it take it off. He said, if you ever have to say, in a situation to make a decision, you need to take that whole thing off of the table. Because obviously, if we're saying, then the audience too, they're going to say, it's something that's not working in that situation. So he's helping me. He's like grooming past just being a client. I also can look at him as a coach because he's teaching me skills that I tell people all the time. When you're 4-figure, we talk a different language than 5-figure, than 6-figure, than 7-figure.
Right.
So when you're dealing with a 7-figure conversation, they process how to handle business totally different. So I'm loving the fact that I have access to someone that's not just acting as a client. He's also like a coach. because he told me today, if there's ever a situation where you're planning content and you have a ah moment as to what is the purpose of this, then that means it doesn't work. Because he was like, if you go then the audience is going to go if you can't figure out how to make it functional, the audience is going to wonder the same thing. So just in that moment with us working out his content edits, I was like, phenomenal to think of things like that. So it helped me with the functionality of my content creation. So that's where we're going though. Podcasting, apparel line, book dropping. So of course that's going to open up for more interviews and me being intentional with building my relationships, because I do have a passion ever since we did the fan meetup. I have a passion for hitting the stage. I have a passion with reaching the people face to face. I have a passion with letting them feel my intention. When it's face to face, it's a whole different energy, you know, and people think they get my energy on lives, but face to face, everybody that went to the fan meetup was just like, oh my God, everything anybody always says is always about energy, 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 energy. So I make sure I'm going to continue to bring that to the people. And speaking of events, this is another drop.
Okay.
That nobody knows.
With the drops.
I know, just dropping. You asked. We have an event coming up, and there is a beautiful lady by the name of Laquita Ricks that I will be teaming up with. She does Wonder Woman Wednesdays. She is a phenomenal coach. And she's also doing empowerment. She does a lot of empowerment sessions with women and webinars, seminars. She just did a vision board like conference where people came together, and she even had like a second segment of it where she selected a few women to come to her home to build the vision boards together, and it was beautiful. So we are teaming up in Houston, Texas, in August. Woo. So that will be the next event from Panther Inc. And the way the plans are coming out, the vision for the ladies is just memorable. We want to make it intentional. We want to make it interactive too. So it's not going to be one of those typical conferences where you get your ticket and you just sitting in the chair the whole time, and you don't really do anything. We're doing all kinds of stuff. And we're going to walk away with some memorable things too. So I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited. So
I'm excited.
What's happening. That's what's going on. And that's just this year.
Right. Just this year. Girl, I'm excited. I'm excited. Because I'm going to be able to go without having to ask somebody, can I get this time off? I'm going to be able to just go.
See? And I said that was going to be one of the announcements if I do decide to go live this evening. I'm not telling them all the other stuff. See, everybody in your crew got the exclusive. Okay? Right. Only thing I'm going to let them know, because I don't want to wait. Even though I'm going to give people time and start promotions like a month before the event, I want them to at least get it in their mind if this is something you want to plan for. Because some people need to be able to just stash $100 a month or something like that. It's way in August, so you got plenty of months to like start getting prepared. I feel like that's fair, because I know my audience. Everybody. You got to find childcare for some people. You got to, like you said, know not to use your sick days right now. Hold those off. Right. Cough in August, okay? Because I'm going to need y'all there.
Right. I'm there, period. Because I didn't get to make the fan meetup because I was kind of last minute knowing, because this is when I first really started
coming around in the tribe. Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm excited to see you, sis. That it's going to be amazing. Yes. So that's what's going on for me, girl.
Girl, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for the collabs, your apparel. I know it's already going to be lit.
Oh.
Because it's already lit, what you be making. So, girl, the bonnet's lit. Like,
girl, it's so many pieces.
Girl, I can't wait.
Outfits. It's going to be workout. I'm pairing urban wear with workout wear. So, Ty, I'm
girl, if you need a model, I will fly down to be a model.
It's a date. Let's be ready to get a ticket. And then see, that's the part. We're in the middle of planning that as we speak too. The videographer, I had to go and study old videos to pull examples. People just don't get the behind the scenes work to put all these different things together.
Right.
There's no sleep for a true hustler. Like
No,
none.
it's
So
not. It really is not. It's really not. Because I'm like,
it's not.
child, I can't never sleep. I feel like Sunday is the only day I can
Yes.
sleep in a little
See, now
because
we know what God felt. When he was like, on the seventh day he rests, he said everything is good. The Bible literally says he looked at everything and said it is good. And on the seventh day he rests. He was
right.
tired, girl.
Tired.
Plus
Especially after
breathing
making this
and molding
beautiful
clay and all of this.
universe.
Like, listen.
I'll be tired too, making this beautiful world for us and creating, us
Create
all.
little people. Can you believe that? Like, he was shaping little clay, molding them into the
Yes.
life into you, sit you over here. He had
Right.
to do all of that.
A lot of work.
It was
A lot of work.
That man was tired.
Right. Tired. We feel you, Lord. We feel you.
We feel you.
I definitely feel him.
Every day.
Well, at least I know, I'm not the only one. Because, you kind of get that. Some people got the opinion where you need to be going to sleep at a decent time. Because you have to be able to function. And my husband is on me all the time. Like, you need to go to bed, babe. You're not going to be able to function. Mm-hmm. I don't know why do you stay up so late and you have to get up in the morning? Mm-hmm. I'd be like, well, I need to get this done. Like,
yep. And you know what? I think in my time with this, because you will burn out. Some people do have like complete burnouts. There's been times, and then you don't want to get to the point where you're no longer intrigued by the hustle of the entrepreneur life. Mm-hmm. So you do have to have a balance. Yes. But what I will say is sometimes you're in a position where it's going to take them long nights to get it done. Yeah. And then other times you just got to say, okay, this week I'm going to take a me day and I'm going to shut down and I'm going to get a nap. Might go to the spa, might get your massage, I might watch a movie and just not touch the computer that day. So you do have to figure out how to balance that. I had a very bad problem with that at one point where I was just like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I had that mindset. Right. And I was just working my way into the ground. Yes. But now I take that time. Like you said, Saturday and Sundays are really my kill switch days. Gotcha. Where on Saturdays, you're rarely going to see me live. Like if I go live on a weekend, it is very far and few in between, child. Like Monday through Wednesday, I look at that, that's office hours. So you'll see me coming on, it used to be consistent. Right. Now that everything's starting to grow, it's not as consistent because I need those hours for other stuff. Right. But if it's a Saturday and I'm doing something, if anything, it'll be a class or a webinar or a challenge or something I'm running. But you gotta etch out that time where you just disconnect. Right. You don't want to cause breakdown or burnout for yourself whatsoever. So I agree with you and I agree with hubby. You gotta balance it though. So yes. Sometimes, girl, some people say, "V, you need to rest. V, you need to rest," and I be like, "I'm not. I can't even hear you because I got an agenda and a deadline." Right. And then other days, I'm like, "You're right. I'm gonna make sure this weekend, like this weekend here, I'm not doing nothing. Like I'm a hope and pray my client don't have no requests because I'm not doing
nothing. Let me rest, Lord. Let me rest.
Like Jesus, let me sleep.
Right. Yes. I pray you do get some sleep on Sunday, sis.
Girl. You too, Ty. You too.
Yes, I need it.
Yes, because it's hard. And see, that's the other thing. Being a full-time employee and an entrepreneur, child, I remember the days. Like it's a struggle being full-time because you don't have a backing to fall on. Right. So it's like in entrepreneurship, what you kill is what you eat type of mindset. Like you don't thrive if you didn't make the sale. Right. At least with 9 to 5, you got that backing. You have the healthcare, you got a check coming on Friday or the 1st or the 15th. But at the same time, when you have that entrepreneur spirit we're talking about, and you really aren't happy and you keep pulling, it's like it goes back to what I was saying. I was existing. I wasn't living. I
Right.
didn't feel like life was fulfilling me. And
Right.
then I get home after work to clock in to work.
Right.
See,
Right.
you'll go from 9 to 5, and now it's 5 to 9 to the job, or 5 to 12 midnight for the entrepreneur side. So it's
Yes.
just a constant cycle: work, work, work. So what's fulfilling you? What is actually? How can you show affection to your spouse? How can you have time on a play day with your kids? Like,
Right.
that's far and few in between.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm telling you, girl. It's
Yep.
definitely a challenge.
Oh, it's a challenge. But as much as we can, even if it's like allow yourself 30-minute breaks. Take
Right.
30 minutes and like, okay, shut down. Or even if you have like 1 hour every other day and say, in this 1 hour is my meditation time. Nobody talk to me. Turn the phone off.
Right.
And you just do whatever Ty wants to do in that
Yes.
1 hour span. If that's on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, y'all know these my days for my 1 hour. Don't even play with me like you don't know that exists. Okay.
Right. Right. Don't call me because you will
Nope,
not be getting an answer.
you're not gonna get an answer. It's on do not disturb. What are we
Right.
doing?
Right. Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yes.
That's the word. Boundaries. It helps with health.
Yes. Girl, it definitely do. It
Yes.
definitely do. We need
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Okay, so since we always, talk about our natural hair, how
Mm-hmm.
about you tell our audience a little bit about your natural hair journey? Have you always been natural or did you transition back to being natural? Kind of give us a little bit of your story.
So my natural journey, I was not always natural. The funny thing is, I believe my mother probably would have kept me natural. I had a godmother that I actually stayed with for a weekend when I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Uh-huh.
And she put a relaxer in my hair without my mom's permission.
Uh-oh.
And my mom was livid. Oh, where she was hot. She was mad. Like, oh, even to this day when she thinks about that story, she was like, when you came back home and your hair was straightened in a ponytail, I just flipped out. I said, oh my God. And it started like genetically. This was another thing that caused me to like shift. It
Mm-hmm.
was awareness of me growing into myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
once I got into high school, headed towards college, I started to read more. I started to discover more about being an African American,
Right.
what to be proud of as a
Right.
Black woman.
Right.
And the more I researched, especially the things that I did not like
Mm-hmm.
that racism stood for when it came to what people actually loved about us, but they portrayed through hate that it was bad. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure I represented it.
Right.
I
Right.
wanted to make sure I was a bold representation so that when you look at me and you stare me down and you're trying to make it like this isn't beautiful, I'm going to make you eat those words. That
Yes.
was one of the things that actually made me say, oh yeah, I'm about to rock this. One of my phrases used to be, I want my fro to grow so big that I make racism uncomfortable. I used to always say that. I wanted to get my fro so big. Like I love to see sisters when they have like these big blowouts or their locks, like it's just really like a lion's mane. Like
Right.
you really see mother, you really see Africa, you really see nature, you really see natural Nubia. When you
Yes.
see those locks extended and their roots are wild and it's like it's uncompromisable, you
Right.
have to
Right.
appreciate and acknowledge Nubia. Like I'm
Yes.
here, you know?
Yes.
And there's nothing like that beauty. I hated that I used to watch a lot of documentaries. I still do. So I think it was my a quest for knowledge
Mm-hmm.
that led me to the awareness and awakening of self.
Mm-hmm.
And when I noticed, the lynching, the raping, the beating, all the things our people went through, and
Right.
yet they still thrived and they were resilient. I feel like my locks represent that. I feel
Right.
like every cry that my ancestors cried, every sweat bead in the cotton field, every lash of the whip is
Mm-hmm.
represented in my wild mane. So
Yes.
that's what put me on that journey. And another thing was hereditarily, my mother's side of the family, they tend to have like a thin spot somewhere. And I
Uh-huh.
have a temple that's thinner on one side than the other. So I always used to try to like wear styles when I had a relaxer that was like accommodating for that weak spot, whether I had a bang cut to the side or however I would have my little haircuts. I would have the stylist. You had to be a stylist that knew how to deal with that kind of thing. And I was frustrated with always having to accommodate for it.
Right.
But with locks, your natural hair is thicker. So
Yes.
it fills in the thin spot. So that was
Right.
another reason. I was like, let me just chop it off. And girl, was I nervous. Because some people also ask, like, well, did you do the big chop or did you do the gradual? I did the big chop. So
Yes.
I used to have we called them wraps. In
Oh,
Louisiana, we were big on wearing a relaxer. You would wrap your hair up,
yes.
tie it down at night. They used a little claw comb and comb it. Girl, that was my style, okay?
Yes.
So I went in and my godbrother, he did hair at this salon. And the owner walked up to me because he was nervous to cut all my hair off. My hair was a long tie. And
Got
he was
you.
like, well, we going to try to gradually cut it. And I was like, okay, and I'm not going to look. You just cut it in a bob first and then like work up. That lady walked up. She was from Trinidad. She did not play. She walked up with some clippers and she said, just get it over with already. And she took those clippers and just buzz cut me straight to my scalp.
Oh, wow.
She did! Ty, I was about to fight the owner of the shop. My godbrother held me by my shoulders and was just like, stay in the seat. But at the end, when he turned my chair around, girl, that was the best revelation of self I ever had in my life. And
Oh.
I did go back once. I got a relaxer. Was it just one time? I did go back because I've always been one that loved to change my hair. So I remember why I went back to Khalees, the singer Khalees.
Yes, I remember.
She came out with this song Bossy.
Yes,
And on the
bossy.
video, she had this asymmetrical, and I mean, it was a beautiful, sassy bob. And I said, oh my God, I'm going back to a perm just to get this cut. Girl, I had to have it. I craved it.
Girl,
Like
you should have got you a quick weave and had them do it
girl,
up.
I had to do it. Ty, I was addicted. I had to do it. Because, girl, all this, my texture, I'm not going to lie, with that fresh perm, I had the little feathery hair, and it was just nice. It was so nice. And I said, I got to get a taste of this before I commit to my natural.
Right.
So I went back, and I think that was around the time I was like 21.
Okay.
And then after that, I wore that for a little while, and then I just chopped it again. And I went natural. And that time, I stayed natural. I just had to get my bossy phase. I had to get that out of my system.
I understand. I think that's when the asymmetric was in. Like everybody just started cutting their hair like that.
Girl, it was that early 2000s era. This was a little after like T-Boz and all of them. Like even in that time, and Monica, all of them were having like the cute little bob. Tony Braxton, all of them. But when
All of them
came out with that freaking haircut, I said, "Oh my Jesus, I have to have this."
Right. Right.
Yeah. So now I'm committed. I've been natural. Ooh, I've lost count. I don't even know how many years it's been. I have been natural a long time. And now all I do is I'll change the style of my natural. So one minute I may have a mohawk. Next minute I have a fro. Sometimes like right now I'm doing a grow out. So I have the fro, but I'm getting it to the point because I miss my bun. So sometimes I'll blow it out. And put it in a bun and wrap it up and have like the little bob piece for a bang.
Okay.
But that, and what was the other thing? Braids. I love wearing my braids.
Me too.
If I don't have braids, I got a fro girl.
Yes, I have noticed you either do your braids or you got your curls out.
That's it. That's all we doing over here. That's it. That's all. Because I've never been a weave person. It never felt right on my head. And I'm surely not doing quick weaves, not knocking anybody that does it because it is an option. You know, people, especially for people that love to have options.
Right.
I was that person. But I feel like my natural options are enough for me as far as because I can always blow my hair out and flat iron and do like a silk press if I wanted to. Right. But I usually just do the braids or I have my wrap curls up in it or out. Or
exactly.
I have, just my fro rocking it. And then once my hair gets longer, I also used to wear like the little puffy, I call it like a little fro puff. I just put it in a little scrunchie and have the puff
The
at the
puff.
top.
Got you.
So that's usually my options. But girl, I'm not about to glue anything down on my head like a helmet. I am not about to have my skin two-toned around the parameter. I'm not about to eat my edges up to the top
Right.
of my head. No,
Right.
I'm not doing all that.
Me
It's not.
either. Me either, girl.
I'm
I'm
good.
not. I'm not a wig person. I don't wear weaves. I haven't in a long time. I used to. I used to
Mm-hmm.
do quick weaves,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel you with that glue. That glue is no joke, and it
That's
will
what I
take
want
your
to do.
hair out.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that. And
Mm-mm.
even with I've had a sew in twice, and it was both for events. I know it was my senior book when we took the pictures for senior year. I had a sew in, and my hair was already here, but I had to show off. So I was like, let me get it right here. So I had like 3 or 4 tracks added.
Uh-huh.
Even with just that, I kept feeling my head like, even like I would be in the middle of a conversation with someone, but it felt like I needed to be conscious, like, okay, the wind don't need to blow, because if it blow, this might move, or I was paranoid. So I just can't do it. It's just not.
I understand, girl.
Probably thinking it too far over, because people like, girl, can't nobody see that? But my brain, I was just like, can you see it? Because I could feel it. So if I could feel it, you could see it. And that's
Right.
not the case. But I was paranoid. So
Girl, I was too. I
I'm not a
was
weed
too.
person.
I was too, girl.
It's over. Those days are behind me. I just love it though. I love natural stands for strength. Natural is organic. Everything
Yes.
organic flows from God. Like it just represents all things rich, all things
Yes.
raw. All I just
Mm-hmm.
love it. And I think too that connects a lot with my personality.
Yeah.
Raw and just
Raw.
bold and just
Yes.